Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and I'm looking this morning at a book from Law Society Publishing. It's this one here, Client Services, Science Service for Law Firms by Heather Stewart. And there's the back of the book, the front there. It's got a good index, as usual. Some very useful appendices, which I found great in terms of checklists. Then the book itself runs through in a form of proper chapters. There are no sort of footnotes as such. But what is useful with this publication is that at the front of each chapter you've got some key points which are very helpful. As I say, the book itself is a very useful book. There are some nice abbreviations too for people new to the profession. I think the book is very good for everybody, not just people who are solicitors, but any of the legal executives. It's very appropriate for ILEX, but it gives you a much better idea of where we are at the moment within our client handling within law firms. And I talk specifically about solicitors, but I'm going to mention the bar as well. We've given it the title, How Your Practice Can Beat the Competition. Create a client-centered culture. This book gives some very good common sense advice about what to do. So if you run a law firm, or for that matter a set of chambers, you'll like this book in our view, because it will certainly be of interest, especially in today's increasingly competitive business environment, because it covers 13 spot-on and relevant chapter headings, which are of great relevance to what we're doing at the moment. It offers a truly tempting array of sensible suggestions and strategies for giving your practice that all-important competitive edge by creating a client-centered culture within your firm. And I have to say, sometimes that is missing, and the clients will go away if you don't have that sort of approach, because we have to keep the clients where we can. Or, to put it another way, putting the client first. Successful retailers have done it for years, we think. However, now the professions have got to do it, and it's a good thing too. Very simply, putting the client's interests before your own will eventually generate repeat business and ultimately attract more clients. And that's what the name of the game is. Slightly different for us at the bar, but we still require repeat business. And we all have repeat business because many clients feel happy with us because they know who we are and they trust us. So let me just indicate that as both a solicitor and a management consultant, the author here, Heather Stewart, has pointed out that a client's expectations of and attitudes towards legal services have changed significantly in the last 25 years, certainly in the years that I've been practicing. Equally, the various elements of the Legal Services Act 2007 will have an even greater impact on the marketplace and the way in which legal practices are regulated when they come into full effect this year. As if this were not enough, of course, Stewart also foresees the day when legal practices can be owned by non-lawyers and attract outside investors, the result of which is that the marketplace will change forever. And we're embarking on that this summer, basically, and we'll see what happens in the new legal year from October. Underlying her point, she enlisted the aid of a seasoned observer of law firms and lawyers, Professor Richard Susskind, whom I've met, an excellent man, an Irish guy, knows exactly what he's doing. He's re-edited his book, The End of Lawyers, Rethinking the Nature of Legal Services, because he's asking some very relevant questions about what direction we're going in. And Heather has obviously linked that in with her book. And I think what both Susskind and Heather Stewart have done is to rethink and cause quite a stir, both nationally and internationally, about what's going on. And no doubt it's scared a lot of lawyers on both sides of the Atlantic into dragging themselves kicking and screaming into the technology-based, customer-centric 21st century. And that's actually what this is about, to a certain extent. As boosting business revenues by offering and providing perceived value is in fact the very practical aim of this book. The major relevant areas are covered, including marketing, branding and client service, motivating employees and managing relationships, expectations and value. And of course the vexed questions of financial management are also dealt with in detail, from value and pricing to managing finance, billing and risk management. The latter being, of course, very important in some aspects, CFAs notwithstanding, and their future. Clearly, this book, Client Services for Law Firms, meets an urgent need on the part of many a lawyer for expert advice and guidance in such matters as marketing, management and of course client service, a need which Law Society Publishing, in our view, has addressed admirably in the timely publication of this work. It's clear, succinct and erudite as a book by an acknowledged expert in this field. So thank you to Heather and thank you to Law Society Publishing. It's worth having and it should be read by all members of your partnership. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.